Hello everyone, welcome to another day in the car. My name is Julez, and what I'm bringing to you today is a story that's very personal to me, to my family, and maybe it'll explain to you why you may have seen people wearing orange this weekend, why some people had lights on their porches, and toys on their front steps. And it has to do with the remains of 215 children who were found at a residential boarding school in Kamloops, Canada. The tribe had long known that more than the number of children that they had officially been told lost their lives at that school. The tribe had long known that, and after 20 years, they finally got the answers this weekend, well, Friday, and some of the children were as young as 3 years old. In the United States and in Canada, they were known as Indian residential schools. The one in Kamloops operated from 1890 to 1969. The federal government ran it as a day school for 9 more years before it closed in 1978. The National Truth and Reconciliation Commission's registry confirmed only 51 deaths at Kamloops from 1914 to 1963, but the tribal community knew that there were more children buried on the grounds, and they tried for about 20 years to find them. And recently there was a grant from British Columbia's Pathway to Healing program, and it allowed them to pay for ground penetrating radar, which was used over the Victoria Day weekend to find the site. And the findings were made public on May 27th. A fuller report is expected in June. The remains belong to children as young as 3, and they're believed to be previously undocumented deaths. It's going to be a while before the remains can be excavated, identified, and returned to their communities for proper burials. And it's a mass grave site. And for those of you who do not know, residential schools were part of a policy to assimilate Indigenous children and make them molded into the European culture. They felt that our culture was inferior. And in the United States, one of the biggest ones was Carlisle. And the motto of Carlisle was to kill the Indian to save the man. And the healing still hasn't taken place. There've not been apologies. Not all the children have been found. It's an open wound, and I just thought you guys might be interested to know about it. The boarding schools were just another step in the movement to assimilate Indigenous people. And in Carlisle, which I'm familiar with, the Indian Industrial School opened in 1879, and it operated for 30 years with a mission to, quote, kill the Indian to save the man. And what that meant was that the administrators forced all the students to speak English, no longer speak their native language, wear Anglo-type clothing, not wear their traditional clothing, act according to greater U.S. values and culture. And Their hair was cut. They had their names changed. And by the time they returned home, many of them no longer knew their traditions, their history, and could no longer speak the language. And lots of hardships were experienced. Many children were harmed. And this ended up being a trauma that was passed down to the generations that followed, and is something that still affects us today. In honoring our ancestors and remembering that every child matters, we wear orange shirts on September 30th, and many people wore orange this weekend because here in the United States it was Memorial Day weekend, and we wanted to honor those 215 children who physically never made it home. And now I'd like to share with you a poem written by Abigail Echohawk. She posted it on May 30th. For the children, the 215 they found in a mass grave, and for the thousands yet to be found. When they buried the children, what they didn't know, they were lovingly embraced by the land, held and cradled in a mother's heart. The trees wept for them with the wind. They sang mourning songs their mothers didn't know to sing, bending branches to touch the earth around them. The Creator cried for them, the tears falling like rain. Mother Earth held them until they could be found. Now our voices sing the mourning songs with the trees, the wind. Light sacred fire, ensure they are never forgotten as we sing justice. Abigail Echohawk. Thank you for watching Another Day in the Car. I'm Jules.